Welcome back to Epically Boring Build, whatever day of the week you're watching this. Today, we're going to work on our 2009 Ford Focus. Epically boring. We stripped our parts car in the last video, links up there, and you got to take a look at it and find out why I'm actually fixing this thing. So, let's get started fixing this thing.
So the first thing we're going to do is unbolt the hood. We'll get the hood hinge on the driver's side, unclip the washer line, unbolt the hood hinge on the passenger side. We'll take the hood and hinges off altogether.
In the pile. Somebody's been here before.
So all the clips were different than they're supposed to be. And apparently the bolts too.
But he's making my life difficult.
Unclip the bumper. This bumper has the filler on the bottom, so we're going to have to unbolt that. Take what's left of our absorber out of the way. Unbolt the headlight on the driver's side. Unplug it. Now put the slide hammer in. Straighten it out a little bit. Work our way towards the really bent part. Okay, we're done. Put it all back together. Now we're going to bolt the radiator support. Unbolt the overflow bottle. Lift it out of there. Now pull the rest of the radiator support out with our slide hammer. Kind of straightening out the edge of that rail at the same time. Now we can unbolt the air box. Unplug the mass airflow sensor. Try to get the air box out, but that airflow sensor wire doesn't want to let go. It has abandonment issues. Unbolt the rest of the radiator support. Unbolt the hood latch. Pull the wiring harness off. Now you can lift the radiator support out of there.
Pile.
Now we're going to hook up our frame rack. Give it a quick pull. And another one. And we're done. Now we're going to discharge the AC system.
Still full, how about that?
While we're waiting for the AC machine to do its magic, we'll straighten out the driver's side fender. The hood hinge went into it, bent it over a little bit. We'll straighten it out a little bit before we give it to the body guy to do his magic. Now that the AC machine is done, we'll disconnect it. Pull our transcooler lines off of our condenser. Pull the safeties off, then pull the clips off. Then slide the lines off. Pull the upper radiator hose off. And take off our baffles and our AC lines. Take off our lower radiator hose.
Don't worry, EPA. There's a drain pan under there.
Now we can pull the cooling assembly out. Now we can pull the wheel liner off the passenger side. And start unbolting the fender. I'd like to throw it in the pile, but I haven't decided what I'm doing with it just yet. Our parts car has louvers that go in the back of the fender, and I have a choice. Actually, I have a few. I can either weld up the holes in my new fender, I can fix this fender, or I can make holes in the driver's side fender on the other side and put this set of louvers on there.
But he's been here before.
Unbolt our washer bottle. It's missing a few bolts. I'll straighten this upper rail a little bit. We'll just hammer and dolly it back to where it belongs. And now we can drill our reinforcement off. We can drill these holes all the way through. We're going to need to weld them up. If you remember, we just cut the reinforcement off the other car, so we have the remaining pieces on there. Finally, we get to use our favorite tool. And a huge win for the safety experts. Hearing protection and eye protection. Still no gloves. So, reinforcements off.
In the pile.
Now we got our new reinforcement. We're just going to grind the rest of those welds off. Knock those little pieces off of there and then prep them. Mr. Air Chisel makes this job easy. Chisel off all our little pieces. In the pile. We'll grind all of our welds smooth. On both sides. Prepping all the welds. Just getting all that paint off of there so we get some nice welds. Clean the back sides as well. Now I'll put our weld through primer on our bare metal mating surfaces, both sides. Our piece is ready to go up. Set it into place. Clamp it up. I scribed the lines on there before I took the other pieces off, so I know exactly where it needs to go. Didn't need to measure this one. And now we can weld it up. Now we can set our radiator support in there. Bolt it in with the 800 bolts that hold it. Now we'll use the under hood measurements that were provided. Make sure it's in the right spot. And we'll also use the ones that we took, just to make sure that the ones that are provided are right. Everything agrees. We're ready to go. Everything should fit. But I don't trust the measurements, so it never hurts to test fit the parts. So that's what we're going to do. It's easier to move it all around before we paint it. Set our used hood on there. Bolt it down. I'll put our fender on. Got our used fender. I think I've decided which way I'm going. Bolt it down. Put our headlight in. We don't have to worry about plugging it in. We're just mocking things up right now. Make sure everything fits. Throw the grill in there. Close the hood. Check all of our gaps. If they all look good, we're ready to take it all back apart again. So now we'll just pull it all apart. Now, I have some time to decide what I'm going to do with that fender. First, we'll pull the grill back out. Now I'll pull the headlights out. I can pull the fender off. Now you pull the hood off. Leave the hinges right on it. Alright, take the radiator support off.
All right, I'm done. Now we're waiting on the painting gnomes.
So I finally decided I'm going to put the vents on the other side of the car. I think they look a little better, and I could use the extra horsepower these add. They add 15 horsepower each. I know what you're saying. Stickers only add 5. But since I have to drill holes on these, I get the full 15. These are two-sided taped and clipped in. So we put our tape template on there. Cut out our holes on the backside. Then I'll flip it over. Put our little vent in there. Then we'll trace around the outside of it with our razor blade. Cut our template down. I decided to just cut holes in our old fender because if I use this fender, I'm going to have to blend the paint into the door. This way, I won't have to. So we'll pull the tape template off carefully. And we'll transfer it onto our fender.
It's a family reunion. Mr. Spotty meets his long-lost cousin.
We will have to paint this little part right here, but since it's covered up with this vent, it won't require the painting the whole fender, just the part that's covered. So we're going to drill our holes out. And since some of them are square, we got our little mini grinder. Just going to grind out the holes till they're the size we need. Now you see why it adds 15 horsepower. So now pull our template off of there. And we'll test for our louvers, vent, whatever. It snaps in there, and then it's two-sided taped. Not sure the two-sided tape was required. Pull our wheel liner off of there. Turn the tire a little bit so we get to the wheel liner clips in the back. We can unbolt our fender. We have to take it off so we can paint the inside where we made all of our holes so they don't start rusting. So we'll hand that off to the painting gnomes and we'll go on and do a little mechanical work. Got to change that reservoir that was busted from our power steering. Pull the line off. Take the 2 bolts out. And just pull it out. Remove the rest of it that was supposed to come out with it. And now we'll slide our new used one in there. Nice and clean. Put our bolts in there. Bolt it in. Now I can put our line back on there. Put the clamp back on. And fill it up with power steering fluid. We'll do this now before we're doing anything else. Turn the wheels back and forth a couple times and bleed all the air out of it.
So I left some treats out for the painting gnomes, some Bondo dust and some lacquer thinner. It's their favorite. So maybe that'll entice them to paint it up for us. Once they do, we'll get it all back together. But that's enough for today. So like this video if you found it interesting. Share it if you think somebody else might. Subscribe to see the rest of this build. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.